with recent happenings in the political scene. So yesterday, ADC went ahead and they had their convention. They were supposed to have a court case with themselves and the PDP, the other faction, Taminu Turaki-led faction. But of course, it was adjourned to, I think, April 22nd. And so they went ahead with the convention. I'd like to get your thoughts because it was for them like a renewed call to oust the APC government. But something happened, which is reminiscent of what PDP did. They went ahead and expelled the Nafi Bala-led ESCO alongside the other House of Reps that is very controversial, that is with Nafi Bala. I'd like for you to just, give me your thought about what's going on. Is this not another replay? I'm just asking of what happened to PDP in that they still have a court case.
Well, you see, this is political season, like you rightly captured in your remark, and you expect this internal wranglings of political parties. You expect mudslinging. You expect people to, to agitate for power. For people like us who are political watchers, we expect to have constructive opposition party. We abhor a monopolized political system where one party is dominant. We are looking forward to having multiplicity of political parties in Nigeria so that you have options. Since we are not operating independent candidature where you can simply walk to INEC and pick form and file for the presidential seat or governorship seat or any other seat in the country. By our laws, you must be in a party for you to be able to express your ambition. And so if that is the case, we expect that we have parties being constructive, being strong, so that, for instance, in the parliament, let us even say, for instance, in Akwa Ibom State, where you have 26 House members, you could have some other parties winning. Then in the national level, where you have 350 federal House members, you could have some other parties winning. Senate, you can have some other parties winning. Now, when you have those other parties emerging in these various levels, they will offer checks and balances. So you will not see the issue of carry go. You won't see the issue of the year have it. It will always be a constructive engagement. There will now be room for lobbying. There will now be room for give and take. And then you will now have a robust legislation and good governance will take place. But where you have one party system, for instance, even when the other parties are there, the big party is maybe allegedly sponsoring crisis or having fingers, in their crisis, then it's not fair for democracy. I wouldn't, in the era of President Buhari, we didn't hear something of a crisis in more parties. We didn't have it. We only had crisis in 1999, in 2009 rather, and 19 rather, that led to the new PDP, where you have some governors defecting or remaining in PDP, they call themselves new PDP, and forming alliance with the now APC to work and brought in the APC government. So I expect that the big party should not have hand, should not, because maybe a hawk cries at night, baby dies in the morning. I don't also expect the big party, the party in power, to have a hand in all these crises. They should be liberal, they should be neutral, they should completely, stay out of these other parties. Let the parties be independent, carry out their activities, and then bring out who they want to bring out. That is what I should expect. So what I'm simply saying, in effect, is that the ADC had their convention yesterday, and I think the David Mark faction is one that had the convention, and it was done. The other faction are expecting the Supreme Court that ought to give judgment, that ought to give a hearing yesterday, which was shifted to 22nd. Same thing happens to PDP. The PDP, the other faction,
Taminu faction.
They were in court yesterday. The court has also adjourned their matter to 22nd of April and approved that there should be accelerated hearing. And then, whereas the IG had ordered that the PDP secretariat be handed over to the Wike-led faction. So you can see so many of these issues. That's why I'm saying that I don't want to believe that Mr. President has a hand in all this crisis, because you have your minister who is working with you and is having a role to play, and now we are naming crisis or a faction of a party to him. Say Wike faction, and Wike is in which government? Wike is in Tinubu's government, and Tinubu is in which party? Tinubu is in APC. So you can have this crisis. That's why I said here before that when Obasanjo appointed late Bola Ige as Minister of Power into his government, Bola Ige was in AD, Obasanjo was in PDP. Bola Ige did not cause crisis in AD. AD was still effective, constructive, and robust in activities in the Southwest. It did not cause crisis in AD. Afenifere was still one. They held strong their ideology. Tinubu was still the governor of Lagos State, and AD was still very strong throughout the days, the life and time of the late Chief Bola Ige. There was no crisis in AD caused by him. And that is the AD that now led, part of which is one now formed this APC. Because Tinubu remained in AD till the day he left and joined forces and formed this APC. So my simply take is that I am saying that for democracy to thrive in Nigeria, we should have more parties being strong. We should have constructive opposition parties. We should have more people to come out, to speak out, and ensure that both INEC and the political parties do what is right.
Well, we just hope that the right thing, as you rightly said, will be done. But nonetheless, we move on. We're watching. And of course, we're hopeful that the political season will come with plenty of engagements. And as you rightly said, a robust opposition. But let's move away from that. And then this issue of zoning agitation and stuff that I'm hearing in Akwa Ibom State with regards to the forthcoming political party primaries. I mean, it's fast becoming a conversation of a sort. I'd like to get your thoughts on it, because some people are saying it's carry go, no zoning. Some people are saying no, there must be zoning. It's a problem.
You almost call it Zoe. Well, whatever it is, you see, I am not a fan. I have said this several times, countless times with that number. Franklin is not a fan of zoning. And my reason is very clear. I am a good governance advocate. I believe in merit. I believe in capacity. I believe in competence. I believe in pedigree that will give us good governance, not zoning. Mediocres hide under zoning to go into office, and they will stay there and become, they lack performance. They become failures because ab initio they had nothing to offer. They did not even intend to aspire for that office, but because zoning and microzoning and microzoning had brought the office to your doorstep. So you simply wake up from sleep in the morning. You slept last night as a private citizen. Wake up in the morning as a party candidate, simply because the ideology of zoning had been zoned and microzoned until you get to your doorstep. In fact, as we speak, the argument about zoning now has now entered into family. You hear it's family turn to produce councillor, family's turn to produce a chairman. I mean, on governance of people, that we should be talking about merit. What do you have to offer should be the basis of our discussion, not on whose zone or whose turn it is. If someone had been elected, for instance, as a house member, let me use that, that's where you have the more issues. For instance, a house member has been elected and he has not performed very well. And you are arguing that because it is zoned to your turn for 8 years, you should do it for 8 years. If someone had been in office as House of Rep member, as senator, and then you have not been your scale of activities and the way you have performed in these chambers of the legislature has not given right for you to seek a second term, but simply because the other zone, for instance, had been there for 8 years, you will argue that it's your turn to go there for 8 years. This is completely, absurd. That is why I'm saying that zoning breeds incompetence, bad governance, and mediocrity in government. What we need as a people is constructive engagement of the people. Tell the people what you will do. And if anybody that comes to me to say, support me or vote for me because it's my turn to be, You know what? You know how I hated that issue when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said it's my own turn. What was the language again? Emeloko. You know how I hated that issue? I had several nightmares because I didn't expect him to say it. He is a man who is a Democrat. We believe that he could perform. At the time he was the governor of Lagos State, because that is the only scorecard he had to aspire for the president. He did very well when he was in Lagos State, and so people believe that he will perform based on that scorecard. But coming to say Emeloko, in fact, I turned against that campaign because I don't see it as turn by turn PLC. Governance should not be based on turn by turn. So what I'm simply saying, zoning in Akwa Ibom State, for me, should not be the basis for governance. Part of why you have lack of governance and ungoverned spaces in Akwa Ibom State and in Nigeria is because of this issue of zoning. Let's allow people who have what to offer, who can be able to x-ray them, screen them, examine their scorecard. If you are in office, what you should use as the basis of your campaign should be what you have done, not because of it has been zoned to your area for 8 years, for 12 years. That's the point. So but if you don't do that, you'll be leading the state into misgovernance.
Well, these are should we say, political trends. It's like a norm in political.
That is why I'm condemning that norm. I'm here to say that norm is misnormal. It should be addressed. I have never supported zoning. I want anybody who is in office to come and tell me, Franklin, I have done this, I have done this, I have done this, support me based on this antecedent. Not because my turn...
Verifiable.
Very, of course. Not because it is the turn of my zone to produce for 8 years. I don't want to hear that. That is why...
Let me ask you this question. I'm sure, I'd like to get your position on this. If you kick against the zoning in the state, what about the one at the national? What about the conversation?
The same thing applicable.
Hold on. What about the conversation about the turn of the South?
That is it I'm saying. I am not a fan of this issue of turn by turn. I want to see, okay, if you have someone from the South, for instance, you had former President Goodluck Jonathan. He was from the South, from our neighboring state here, Bayelsa. Was able to do bridge to Atueke. Did he do road to Atueke? I'm asking you that question. You are here. He's from here. So what did we gain from him? Look at the East-West road. But you could have someone from the North coming here to do road to Atueke. Coming to do road, the South-East, the East-West road. So the issue of zone, when late Moshood Abiola contested for president, he did not use zone. He brought out his scorecard and won election on the basis of what he can do. And that is why the June 12th election had been the best, freest and fairest election that was annulled. So I don't want to hear the issue of turn by turn or zoning. So let us keep these things on the ground. Let everybody go to the field, go to work, tell us what you have done. Where you are from the north, the south, the east, the west, it's immaterial.
Let's agree on one thing before we move to the next item. Otoiko, you're saying even in this political season as we go to 2027, you are totally against anything called zoning, even at the national. You want whoever, if I'm getting you well, I'll just to be sure that I'm not putting the words in your mouth. You want whoever can do the job to get the job.
Ike, you have just hit the nail on the head. From 1999 till 2026, right? We have been arguing or operating on the basis of zoning. Let me even say so. What have we achieved as a people? What has this country achieved? Insecurity, lack of power supply, lack of good road network, lack of public schools, lack of healthcare facility. What have we achieved since we have operated zoning? One pattern of governance from 1999 till date. Those who have emerged from the north, where today insecurity is high in the north. Those who have emerged from the south, have you seen any good road network in the south? I mean, what are we saying? So why are you still hanging on the theory that has failed us? Throw this thing open, let everybody go to the field. So the best thing will emerge. We are the ones that will employ them. They are our servant. That's the truth. If you have a tenders board and you open up vacancy, you open up bidding for people to come and bid for job, you pick the best. Here we need the best. Otherwise, we'll be going down instead of going up. I have just told you, tell me what you have achieved. We have had places from the south, under the basis of south, turn of the south. We've had from the north, turn of the north. Go and check the north and check the south. What have we achieved as zones?
Okay, Otuekong, well, let's leave that there. Otuekong has said going into the elections in 2027, he first off, like charity, as they say, began from home, saying this whole conversation around zoning, he doesn't want to hear it as a person because he believes he breeds incompetence and mediocrity. He'd rather that people who are qualified and everybody go to the field and test your capacity and, of course, popularity. Whoever wins, wins. If you can do the job, you wouldn't be employed. But let's leave that